So you just got your makeup in the mail and you're super excited. You might be a little intimidated, but girl, I got you. I'm gonna walk you step by step through this process. So your box probably looks something like this, full of all of these goodies. The first thing I want you to grab out is your palette. So this is gonna be your container for all of the things that we just got. So go ahead and take this sleeve off and you can just put it on the table in front of you. Now we wanna start taking out all of the tints. Don't worry about the eyeshadows, we'll get to them next. Once you have all of your tints on the table, I actually want you to flip them all upside down because on the back, it'll actually say exactly what they all are. The first two tints I want you to grab are your highlight shades. Now you should have a main and a brightener. So your main is going to be the shade that's going to match your skin tone the best. Your brightener is going to be a couple shades lighter than your actual skin tone. So go ahead and take them out of their tins. You're just going to slide it right out. And then you're going to take your palette and open it up. And I like to have my highlight shades in the very front. So you're just going to put your first one there. And it really doesn't matter if you have your brightener first or your main. As long as you can tell the difference between the two, that's all that matters. The next shade that you're going to look for is your contour shade. Now this should be the cool dark brown shade. Don't be afraid of it. I promise it's going to look beautiful. Just like the highlights, we're just going to place it in here right next to those highlight shades. After your contour, grab your lip and cheek shades and pop those in. After you've put in your lip and cheeks, feel free to grab your Bella bronzer. Again, don't be afraid of her. She's a warm brown. She is beautiful. Just go ahead and pop her right in there. Now that my top layer is full, I'm just going to flip it open to the next layer and I'm just going to add my illuminator. And then I'm also going to add in all of those eyeshadows. Here's the palette all put together. Now yours might look a little different. You might have a bigger palette, you might have a smaller palette, but as long as you know where all of your shades are at, that's all that really matters. Now I'm going to show you a step-by-step walkthrough of how I apply my 3D foundation. But before I do that, I just want to let you know that there are multiple different ways to apply this makeup. So just because I'm showing you this one way does not mean that there are multiple other ways. So the more you play with it, the better. For today's makeup application, I'm using the detail brush and the Blush+Bronzer Brush. Now, when it comes to applying your makeup, you can totally use a primer. Just make sure that it doesn't have any silicone in it. Otherwise, if it does, it'll just slide right off. So when it comes to primers, I love this e.l.f. Poreless Putty Primer. You can get it pretty much anywhere, and I think it's like $5. Now, some days I use a primer, some days I don't, but today I'm going to. So I'm going to use the e.l.f. Poreless Putty Primer. I'm just going to put some on my cheeks. And again, any primer will do as long as you don't have silicone in it. So I'm just going to blend this in. So once my primer has been applied, I'm going to snag the detail brush, which is this guy, and I'm going to grab my palette. So go ahead and grab yours too. Let's do this together. So I'm going to take the big end of the detail brush and I'm going to start in my contour shade. Now again, it's that dark, cool toned shade. And I'm just going to kind of rub in a couple times just to get the product. And then I'm just going to go from the top of the ear down to my mouth. I'm going to stop right there. I'm going to get a little bit more product and I'm going to go up on my hairline area. And we're going to be making kind of a 3, okay? So under the jaw, not on the side, under the jaw, okay? So as you can see, it kind of looks like a 3, and that's kind of a good rule of thumb when it comes to contouring your face. I'm going to take the same brush, same side, just to do the other side. So we'll start the top this time. And then we're going to work on the side of our cheek. Again, kind of that cheekbone. You'll be able to find the top of the ear down to the mouth is a great spot. Try not to contour in this area. And then under the jaw. And I'm also going to contour my nose. So you can skip this step if you don't like contouring your nose. I think it looks beautiful. So I'm going to take the same brush. I'm just going to pat on the side. And I'm just going to make a really straight line on one side up to my brow. And I'm going to do the same thing to my other side.
Up to that brow. And that's just going to kind of slim the nose a little.
Now you do not have to blend this in because we're going to blend it in at the end. I'm going to take this small end of the detail. So I'm just going to flip my brush. I'm going to go into my brightening highlight shade. So I'm just going to kind of drag a little bit in there. And I'm just going to apply a little bit down in this area. And we can kind of go over here, okay? So it's kind of a pie shape. But we're just applying a little bit of brightener under here to really brighten up and make the focus of the face my eyes, okay? Then I'm gonna take a little bit and go down my nose into the T-zone. So if you envision like a T, like literally the letter T, kind of like that, okay? Now I'm gonna flip my brush again. I'm gonna use the bigger side of the detail brush again. If you want, you can always kind of wipe off the excess contour before you do this, and then go into your main shade, again, kind of swirl it a little bit. And now I'm just gonna paint this on my beard. So kind of like this. So if you are pretending you're a man for a sec and you have a beard, that's kind of where you'd want to apply this color, okay? Now I cannot stress this enough, a little bit goes a long way. So when I'm patting, I'm only patting a couple times. I'm also going to go right above that T, but still under that contour. So that is pretty much my 3D foundation applied. Now I'm going to take my blush and bronzer brush, which is this guy. I'm going to take the more dome shape, not the fluffy. I'm going to take the other end and I'm going to blend with this. So we're going to start with the lightest shade first, and I'm just going to kind of barely baby gently like blend this in. We don't want to go heavy handed. We just want to go kind of light. We're just kind of trying to blend in the shades. I'm going to go into my highlight shades first. Now this makeup is so buildable. So if you don't struggle with acne, you're gonna be really happy with your blended result. If you struggle with acne or sunspots or any sort of other skin issues, me and you are probably gonna have to work a little bit harder and come back in and do a second spot treat, but I'll show you that at the end. Again, I'm just kind of patting the color in. Now once I have my highlight blended, now I can go into my contour. And make sure that you're blending up and into the hairline. So I like to do kind of baby circle motions. And then when it comes to this, I just kind of push it up. Kind of like a push-up brow. We're just trying to push up that color. We don't want to bring it down under here. So now we're going to blend in the jaw. Do not forget to blend in your jaw. It happens too much. We're going to blend this up. And then we're going to go up into the hairline. And do not forget your nose. Always blend that in super lightly. And again, if you struggle with acne or if you struggle with sunspots, all you have to do is take your detail brush, go into your main shade, and just spot treat those troubled areas. So I'm just applying the littlest amount to try and get those guys covered up. Now let's add a little bit of blush. So I'm going to use that same small end of that blush and bronzer. I'm just going to tap into my lip and cheek shade. You do not need a lot. It's very pigmented, and these lip and cheeks last forever. So I'm just going to apply a little bit and just kind of work up towards the hairline. Some people like to put their blush on their apples of their cheeks. Some like to go a little bit higher. You can apply it wherever you like to apply your blush. Now these dual as your lip and cheek colors. So I just take my middle finger and I'm just going to kind of get a little bit of product and I'm going to apply it to my lips. Now it's time to add a little bit of Bella bronzer. Now this is where I like to use the fluffy end of the blush and bronzer brush. I'm just going to flip my brush. I'm going to use the fluffy end and I'm just going to pat a couple times into Bella. You do not need a lot of Bella bronzer. A little goes a very long way. So I'm just going to apply my bronzer up on the tops of my forehead, kind of if I was getting a sunburn. And then I'll also get a little bit more and I'll go kind of on the tops of my cheeks. And I'll blend that in. And then I'll go underneath my jaw and I'll go a little on my nose like I got a sunburn on my nose. Now once Bella bronzer has been applied, the last thing we're going to apply is our illuminator. Now you either got a cream illuminator or a powdered illuminator. If you have a cream, I just like to use my middle finger and I will just apply it to the tops of my cheekbones and make sure that you blend it in well. And if you got one of the powders, you can always just use one of our brushes to apply the powdered illuminator versus using your finger. But I like to go on the tops of my cheekbones. I like to go on my Cupid's bow with my illuminator and also my nose and kind of down my nose to give this that little extra glow to the skin. And there we have it. You did your 3D foundation. Way to go, girlfriend. So now what you can do is you can set your face with a powder if you like more of a matte look, or you can use our setting spray and set your face with our setting spray, which is what I normally always do. So I just take our setting spray and I will just spray about 4 times on my face. So don't breathe when you're using your setting spray. And it kind of douses you, which is totally fine. I just kind of like to fan myself. And now once my face is set, I should be good to go. Here's a couple last minute things when it comes to your makeup. If your main highlight shade, which is like your foundation color, does not match you, message me ASAP and we will get you a free color swap so we can get you the right shade. Also, if any of your products are ever damaged when you receive your makeup, please message me ASAP and then we will get you that new product sent to you ASAP. After watching this video, if you're still struggling with your makeup, please message me and ask me any question. I'm totally here to help you. Otherwise, I hope you have a beautiful day and I hope you love your makeup and we'll be chatting soon.